This episode is brought to you by Cargo, a strategic marketing firm that we at Stone Mantle have partnered with for years. Cargo knows how to build meaningful brand experiences because they ask every prospect or client the same question. What if every customer brought you your next one? Let's face it, customers advocating for your brand, not you, is the only currency that matters now. It's the kind you earn by investing in moments that move people, experiences that hit deeper, stick longer, and spark something real. Because when something feels personal, when it truly resonates, people share it. And when they do, you don't just earn attention, you earn trust, traction, and impact that money alone could never buy. Cargo focuses on just that, inspiring advocacy, creating unforgettable brand moments that spark real connection, meaningful conversation, and loyalty that builds movements, not just market share. For a limited time and only for Experience Strategy Podcast listeners, they're offering their proprietary advocacy readiness workshop for free to a few companies who are serious about getting every customer to bring you the next. Follow the link in the show notes to sign up and tell them that Dave, Aransas, and Joe sent you. Welcome to the Experience Strategy Podcast with Joe Pine, author of The Experience Economy and lots of other bestsellers, Dave Norton, an experienced futurist and founder of Stone Mantle, and me, Aransas Savas, an expert in coaching, motivation, and behavior change. Each week, we bring you a trending story from the news and share our hot takes. Today, we are looking at an article called Disney and the Decline of America's Middle Class. It was written by a management consultant named Daniel Carell for the opinion section. He interviewed dozens of Disney enthusiasts, historians, and experts, and took his own visit to Walt Disney World, as one does, for a piece like this. And basically, his opinion piece was arguing that Disney World has transformed from an egalitarian, everyone is a VIP mindset that was accessible to middle-class families into a tiered system that prioritizes wealthy visitors who can afford premium passes, luxury accommodations, and all the skip the line privileges. So the author uses two contrasting experiences: a school bus driver who saved for years to afford a very basic Disney trip versus a tech executive who easily paid a little extra $900 for premium access to illustrate. That's a lot extra. To illustrate how Disney's shift toward serving the affluent customers reflects a broader decline of America's middle class and the segmentation of our what once were shared cultural experiences. Joe, you picked this article, so kick us off.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's so much in here. Authors and publications don't always get to choose their title, so I don't know if this management consultant chose the word decline or not, or the headline writer did, because it's obviously mistaken. This is not any indication of the decline of the American middle class, but it is an indication about how Disney is absolutely not as egalitarian as it used to be. And it used to be you couldn't name any place that was more egalitarian, and it was in their DNA, and they tried to make it so. And that absolutely has gone by the wayside in the last 20 years. The one thing to recognize is how very much more we value the Disney experience than we did many years ago, decades ago. I mean, July 17th, 1955 was when Disneyland opened. And it's because of the shift to the experience economy that we value our experiences much more highly. It's actually cause and effect of that, in fact, that we value our time much more highly, and therefore we value experiences more highly, and therefore we're willing to pay more for them. And the more money, and the way you handle demand is you have to charge higher prices when you have too much demand. And if Disney charged only middle class prices, normal, I would say, whatever that is, middle class prices, then it would have way too much demand, right? Disney literally has to chase away demand through pricing. In fact, I did a op-ed page piece for the Wall Street Journal back in 2022, I think it was, January 2022. And I specifically talked about how much Disney prices were going up and how much they have gone up over 40 years. And I actually did the analysis. I had my spreadsheet and everything, that since Disney went to single charge pricing, right, an admission fee versus tickets, what it used to have at Disneyland in 1981, from there to 2021, its pricing went up 2.3 times the CPI. I mean, that is huge, right? 2.3 times is huge year after year after year for 4 years. It's not inflation as we commonly think of it, right? It's not that their labor supply costs went up to hire cast members. It's not that lumber costs to build rides and facades and so forth went up. It's simply the value of Disney went up. And it's emblematic, again, of the entire experience. I mean, all experiences have gone in price relative to the CPI. I've done work on that as well that showed that commodities go down over time. Manufacturing goes a little down. Services are about even to a little down. Or actually, take it back, services are a little up on average, but experiences are way up and transformations are way up even higher. So recognize that when you have that value, you have to handle it by your pricing, right? Otherwise, you run into capacity issues, and then nobody enjoys an experience where everybody is 6 inches away from another person. So that's a key thing. But it hasn't obviously caused the decline of middle class. The person that they highlight here, I think, seems like lower middle class, and she did find a way to afford it because it was that important for her to do. And normal middle class people can afford Disney prices and that, but there is the biggest issue in my mind was the lack of egalitarianism. It was the fact that the more money you have, the less time you have to spend in rides. And I got more to say on that, but I'll pause and say that is a real issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I question whether it is affordable to middle class people. You think about the lengths to which she went in order to make this possible. It was a multi-year investment,
Right.
asking for all of her holiday gifts to be Disney gift cards so that she could afford the lowest tier experience. But what stood out to me most of all in this that I think experienced strategists really need to be looking at is, yes, the value of experience. And particularly, as we discussed in the Mogadog Diary of a CEO episode a few episodes back, it's the desire for connective experiences. So whether it was the tech executive or the bus driver,
Right.
they were there not for themselves. They were there to connect with the people they loved.
Absolutely.
And that is the thing we should all be looking for opportunities to do.
That's really interesting. And Joe, I hadn't really thought about the piece that you're describing, that the value has gone up over years. Actually, it's odd. I haven't heard you share that. And I think I know pretty much.
You didn't read my op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, Dave?
I did. I guess I didn't commit it to memory. I guess
That's okay.
or something along that line. It's true because, we talked about the Atlanta Braves in a couple episodes ago,
Right. Exactly.
and how much more valuable these sports venues are. Very much a traditional kind of experience. It's been around for eons, and the value just keeps going up and up for some of them. Others, not so much. Cultural experiences, maybe they're not increasing in value quite the same way. I guess it depends on where you're going. If you're going to Venice, maybe yes. But if you're going to your local museum,
it's kind of still just a museum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still kind of just a museum.
Browse art and try to figure out what you don't know.
People aren't there. And I think one of the things that's different about Disney today than in the past is, even though it's not reflected in the park experience per se, Disney has so many other things going on that it is trying to support, like its streaming networks, like its its
Movies.
channels, ESPN, and so forth. And those things are supposed to be working together to support kind of this ecosystem that reinforces the value of the park. The same thing is true for sports. It's true for a lot of the experiences that we really enjoy. There has to be kind of this ecosystem that supports it, that includes a lot of services. A lot of services go into supporting your experience. You know, the bus ride, they talked about in the article that the woman needed a motorized scooter to get from one place to another. That's a service. It's a service,
Yep.
and it's a free service, but it is one of so many services that they now provide. They now provide apps. They now provide. There are some amazing experiences that happen for free, and I think they need more of those types of experiences. The last time I was at Disney World, I was blown away by one of the bird experiences where they had all of these toucans fly in at a particular time, and it was amazing. It was just an amazing type of a thing. That's not about waiting in line to get on a ride. That's something that you can do to enjoy yourself, to have kind of like a family connection. And it doesn't, like I don't actually go to Disney World for the rides. I go for the people. I go for my kids. I go for things like that. And if we get in a couple of rides, good. That's great. But the entire environment has to be supported. And they do a wonderful job of with their they brought the parade back. I don't know if you noticed that, but they brought the parade back. They've got the fireworks that are going on. There's a lot that's going on in that environment.
Well, and from a motivational standpoint, they have made some really smart decisions in how they've created this tiered system. And you hear the bus driver allude to this when she says, yeah, this took us years to save up for, and we'll be back. And next time we'll do X, Y, and Z
Mm-hmm.
to make it an even better experience for us. So what have they done? They've set up this scheme with so many layers of gamification that you can only find out about. And they talk about, like, there's the secret nooks and the secret
Right.
this and that. Well, there's so many secrets to how you get to this ride and that ride, and how you get access to this queue. And you learn about those through engaging with the Disney ecosystem. And that is both their platforms, but it's also their massive, sprawling fandom. And then suddenly you get sucked into the fandom and you become a part of the fandom. And when you're thinking about, do I buy a bigger house or do I save to take my kids to Disney? Well, everybody's talking about Disney around me, so it's probably what I'm going to do.
It strikes me that perhaps the ethos is still there. It's just not concentrated in the park anymore. I mean, everyone can have access to Disney content, to Disney activities, because of the ecosystem that's been created. And not to use a religious example, but and it's probably wrong of me to do it, but maybe you only get to go to Mecca a couple of times, but you still get to have the experience of being a part of Disney through all of the other channels that are available to you.
Now, actually, the only exclusive thing in the entire park is Club 33. Club 33 was what you do have to pay more for, or you have to have a connection in that. It was actually created as Walt Disney's personal apartment, his family apartment inside of the park, but he never occupied it. Eventually became an event space and so forth. In fact, When Jim Gilmore and I had our Think About events, I think it was 2004, we were in Los Angeles area and went to Disneyland as part of the experience and got into Club 33 because of our connections. And we had Marty Sklar, one of the most famous Disney Imagineers, come in and regale us of stories going all the way back to Walt himself. And it was just like amazing. I do remember somehow I ended up with a spoon from the club when I got home, but I didn't intentionally take it. Maybe my psychosis, was a little different, but somehow I ended up with.
Oh my gosh!
So again, everything else is available to everybody, but it's a matter of how much money you spend to spend less time. Right. Again, time is the most important thing.
It is a time dollar exchange.
Exactly. As Dave, you talked about all these services that go into. Well, one of those services is queuing, right? And nobody values queuing very much. Although Disney does better and instituted all these wonderful things to make queuing into more of an experience.
Sure.
Such as the pre-show that it does to be able and to tell you when they say it's 30 minutes from this point, I'll guarantee you it's no more than 25, right? They always want it to feel less than it is. And the staking, they were the first to stake lines really and people watch and all of that. So they do a lot to turn that time that you sort of wasted in queuing into time well spent of an experience. But that's what the money gets you is the ability to fast pass it, and fast pass used to be available to everybody. Now they charge for it. So again, that is that loss of egalitarianism. But one of the points there I want to make, which I've made in many different contexts, not in this particular one, I don't think, but is to recognize that one of the things the rich do, one of the things the wealthy do in regarding to innovation is they subsidize innovation for the masses, for everybody else. It's because the rich were willing to buy cars when there were no roads in the late 1800s and early 1900s that we were able to eventually create a mass car industry where everybody can have a car. It's because the rich were willing to buy these cellular phones that look like bricks with an antenna, 3 feet long when they first came out and cost over $1,000, in 1980 dollars. That the masses all now have a smartphone, right, that costs hundreds of dollars that also they're willing to do. The rich subsidize innovation, and that's what they're doing here at Disney. They're subsidizing the ability to get the queue down for them that will eventually get the queue down for everybody. With an experience platform, which FastPass and Magic Band and all those things will eventually get to the point of virtually no queuing. Because people are paying for it now and showing the value of it. Eventually, for those you'll be able to have on your app that whenever you get off of one ride, you've got this platform that tells you here's the choices that you can do. You can be on this ride in 5 minutes. You can have that ride in 15 minutes. You can have this lunch, and if you want to order it ahead, you can have that in 10 minutes. And you simply pick, okay, let's do this next, or let me take time off and just walk around and see what I want. And then it's simple math, it's simple programming to be able to get all of that to come together so that virtually you can be doing all these wonderful things and not have to wait in line, which then Disney has a capacity problem again. Because if you're not waiting in line, you're doing stuff and there aren't enough stuff to do inside the park. And so then you've got to have a bigger part, lower capacity, charge more for it and all of that. But queueless riding is eventually where we're going to go to.
Absolutely. And because of the sunk cost fallacy, the more we invest in learning these processes, the more likely we are to become loyalists because we've already put this much time and energy into saving ourselves some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. The woman's challenge in the article was that she had to figure out her itinerary herself. And when something went wrong, then everything got backed up and she had to kind of figure it out. And it is interesting that, they're basically right now charging for a guide. So you can get someone who will literally walk you through the park, talk you through the park, set up your program for you. And eventually that will be technology. Yeah, that'll be AI to some degree. I also do think that Disney needs to get larger.
Yeah.
They need to, the parks need to get bigger. And I know that seems kind of crazy and it's very expensive, but they need more theme parks. And they need more locations. I think California and Florida is not enough. They need some other regional hubs. They've got Europe, they've got Hong Kong, they've got some things that they're doing along that
Shanghai,
It's
line.
funny. We were just in
Shanghai,
Europe,
not Hong Kong,
and,
Shanghai.
and we talked to all these people in Europe who were Disney loyalists, and they were like, "We go to Florida every year." We're like, "Why don't you go to Disney Europe?" They're like, "Ew,
That's
that's
right.
not Disney."
That's right. It's
And so I
inauthentic.
question what you're saying there because I'm not sure how much it's really going to solve the
I would,
problem. It becomes maybe a secondary, like there are plenty of people who are going to go to Europe just to go to Disney Europe, but they actually aren't going to even bother to go see any of the other sort of tourist
We need a
destinations.
middle America one.
Middle America would be great. I mean, if it's an authenticity issue, then okay, I can see your point there. I would contend that most of what happens in Las Vegas is derivative of Disney in terms of theming and architecture and design. And most of what happens in ski resorts and in a lot of different places are derivative of that original idea. So there are regional hubs where you can go. They're just not themed Disney. And I'm not sure that
That's
Disney.
fair. I'm buying it.
I mean, they did the retail thing, but I think they did the retail thing wrong.
Yeah.
And what I'm
They did the
suggesting
urban
is
theme park thing too, Disney Quest, but they did it wrong and didn't.
wrong.
They
Right.
did Disney. They did Disney birthday party things, which is down the plate. Absolutely, what it should do is create Disney birthday party places in every major city. But they didn't do it right, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Usually they will then make it right. They never do anything right the first time. I mean, literally, it's sort of amazing to me. All their rides, everything they got to fix, right? But they didn't spend the time to fix it because of what else was going on in the corporation at the time.
Sure. So if your theory is right, Joe, that in fact all of these new additional premium prices are actually going to generate more innovation, which I hope is exactly what happens, and it doesn't just become a service-driven kind of thing, where basically they're just charging you extra for services, then I think they need to expand, and I think they need to expand with regional locations in some way, shape, or form.
And Disney, if you're listening, we will help you get this birthday party thing right. We have thoughts. This is the dream team for the Disney.
Dave Whittington, we're talking to you. Vacation Club, yeah, we're talking to you.
So I think a good ending to this actually is to just the last quote from Ms. Kressel, who was highlighted in this article, is perfect. All magic has a price.
I thought you would like that.
Indeed. It just depends what you're going to pay with your time or your money.
Yep.
And often both. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you next week with more hot takes on experience strategy and the news. Hey friends, I am so excited to share that Feedback Now and Stone Mantle are giving away a free pilot program to bring your real-time data idea to life. We get it. We know there's a lot of clutter in experience data and how hard it can be to pinpoint the real issues. That's why we're excited to introduce you to Feedback Now, the world's best company for real-time feedback. They process over 130 million customer opinions every year in over 50,000 unique locations around the world. Companies who use Feedback Now see an average increase in satisfaction of 15% in just 6 weeks. They're the real-time choice for sentiment data collection for some of the world's best airports, retailers, and hospital systems. Why? Because they don't just capture immediate customer sentiment. They help you see the patterns in your data. No amount of AI can compensate for not having real customers giving you real-time insights into your experience. That's what Feedback Now with a little assistance from Stone Mantle does. Want us to help you with your real-time data idea? Just go to their website, which we've listed in the show notes, share your idea for a project, and we'll reach right back out to you.